Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Iliana and I'm a success and transformation coach. Today here with me I've got Dr. Paul Penn. Hi. Hello. And he's a psychologist, and if you haven't figured out already from our surnames, he's also my husband. Hi darling.
And we're married.
Yes, got the ring to prove it. We decided to do a series of these videos where we'll pick a topic and discuss it from a coaching perspective as well as from a psychology perspective, and Paul's going to give his input on this. So today's topic is procrastination, and I promise we haven't procrastinated making this video. We've just a tiny bit maybe. And in full disclosure, I'm a master procrastinator myself, but a recovering one at that. So hopefully by the end of this talk, you'll also get a few tips and tricks how to beat procrastination. So let's get started. Procrastination, what is it? I mean, we've all done it from time to time, right? We've all put tasks that we should have done today for tomorrow, and we try to run away from that pain. However, it always catches up with us at the worst moments. So what is procrastination?
Well, procrastination is pretty much, as you've identified actually, because when you think about it, we've all got a lot going on in our lives. So just putting things off isn't necessarily an indication you're procrastinating, because obviously you've got to prioritise some things over others. But if you put something off, and putting it off means that you are going to suffer in the future as a result of having put it off, then that's what we would call procrastination. So procrastination is putting off till tomorrow what you really should be getting on with today, and what you're going to be at disadvantage because you didn't get on with it today.
I've got some of my clients, they come to the sessions and trying to solve an issue. However, they struggle with procrastination the most, and we need to solve procrastination before we can then get to the issue. What causes procrastination?
Well, procrastination is actually a really complicated foe. It's not just one factor that underpins it. Research indicates there are a number of things that are responsible for making us procrastinate. And the first thing is, well, okay, do you think you're capable of doing the task? You know, are you confident, or are you confident in your self-efficacy, as we would say in psychology? So are you going about the task in an effective way? Because if you aren't, obviously, the chances are you're going to struggle with it. That's going to put a dent in your confidence. That's going to mean you resent the task a bit more, find it more frustrating. And it's not rocket science to say that these things aren't conducive with what you get, say, done in a timely fashion. So that's the first thing. The second thing is looking at, well, okay, what's the value of the task for you? So what's the value of the reward, or maybe sometimes the punishment you get if you don't do the task? So obviously we tend to prefer things that give us very quick and readily available rewards. So this is something you'll probably get with your clients. If they have a long-term goal in mind, like starting a new business or something, that's the thing they'll procrastinate with most, because the reward for that could be weeks, months, years in the future.
Sometimes even years. That's
exactly,
right.
Yeah. And as humans, we prefer small but immediate rewards over larger but more distant rewards. Then you've got the thorny issue of distractions. Distractions.
My favourite.
Yeah, distractions are inevitable, and you've got a good example of a distraction on your lap there, for example. I mean, technology, you only have to be in front of the computer for 5 minutes and you're getting all kinds of beeps and bongs and alerts to say, you've got Instagram filter you've got to apply, you've got Facebook post you need to like, or, someone's put something on Twitter you need to tweet in response to. And all of these things.
Don't forget the latest TikTok. Got to keep up.
TikTok, I'm way too old for it. Yeah, but I'm sure that's another one as well. And that's before you mention emails and phone calls and all the old-fashioned stuff as well. And all of these things from a psychological point of view are very damaging, because for your attention, not damaging to you personally, but the most damaging things for attention are things that are intrusive and unexpected and require you to respond to them. And that's pretty much every alert you get on your computer. So that's another reason that people procrastinate. So all of those things tend to conspire to make us put things off into the future.
You mentioned distraction. Let me pick up on that again, because that is one of my downfalls, as it were, distraction. But it's also, technology doesn't have to be a downfall for any of us. It can also be the helper to save us from procrastination if we use it correctly, because there's lots of apps nowadays, there's lots of websites where you apply that the time that you want to be working on something, on a task, and the rewards, and it keeps you on check, it keeps you motivated almost, it gives you that accountability to yourself. And I feel that's really important, and it's one of the things that we work with in our coaching sessions. We identify resources that are really important to help you beat procrastination. What if you don't have someone else out there to be accountable to? Then there's always these apps that help us. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you can use technology in your favour, then you should. I mean, apart from the apps that help you schedule breaks and things like that, there are also apps that prevent you from, surfing the internet, going onto apps like Facebook. So there's lots of ways that you can assist yourself in your self-regulation of your behaviour. And that's what it really is. Sort of procrastination is, at essence, it's a failure to self-regulate your behaviour properly. And there are theories in psychology, such as ego depletion, for example, that say that our capacity to self-regulate our own behaviour is finite. It's a finite resource, and just as if you're going for a run or something and you can run out of reserves and oxygen and end up, gasping for air, as it were, if you're putting a lot of demands on your self-regulatory behaviour, eventually you're going to run out and just cave in and, hit the distractions or go and watch the episode of the late Game of Thrones or whatever it is you're watching on box sets. So I think that's kind of an important thing. If you can use technology in your favour, you should. And the way to do it is to try and ease the burden on the necessity for you to self-regulate your own behaviour. If you can just get a bit of a help with that, then that often keeps you on track and on task.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. What about sometimes, obviously, the clients come in and there is a definite lack of vision or setting appropriate goals for the task, and therefore they get so overwhelmed with this and get so stressed that they can't manage it. Then it's almost like they're carrying all that weight on their shoulder, all that stress, and it's becoming too much. Obviously, one of the things that we work on there is having appropriate goals that we set and also breaking them down, and then breaking them down even further, so having really small chunks of tasks for them to do. What do you think?
There's good evidence for that in psychology. We call it unpacking the task.
Okay.
And basically, the reason that unpacking the task works and breaking it down is a couple of things. The first is that, as we said before, one of the big drivers of procrastination is the amount of time it can take to get rewarded for doing bigger tasks. Well, if you break that task down into smaller chunks, then you've got a series of smaller tasks that you can reward yourself for along the way. So you're reinforcing your behaviour along the way to the final goal, and you're not having to wait until you've achieved the final goal to get there. The second reason is, in psychology we have something called the planning fallacy, which refers to all of our tendency to grossly underestimate how long it takes to get things done. And the bigger the task, the more vulnerable you are to the planning fallacy. And if you break the task down into its components, you are less vulnerable. So if I give you an example from university that often crops up, if I say to a student now, you've got 24 hours to do an essay, they'll probably go, 24 hours is plenty. If I then say to them, okay, it's an essay, but we're going to break it down into its component tasks now, like you've got to get your notes together, you've got to go to the library, you've got to select the right resources, you've got to read those resources, you've got to discard the ones that are no good to you and keep the ones that are good to you. Notice they haven't even started writing the essay yet, then you've got to think of a structure for your essay, then you've got to plan out that structure, then you've got to write a first draft, and you see the student going, hang on a minute, 24 hours? As soon as you
there too.
Exactly, but as soon as you break a task down like that, it's much harder to kid yourself that you can get it done quickly, and that's really important, because if you think you can get something done at the last minute, well, why wouldn't you leave it to the last minute?
Yeah.
So those are two reasons that it's really important to break things down into its component parts. But the other thing is goals as well, and it's important to be very clear about what you want to achieve. There's an old saying that says, if you don't know where you're going, any bus will get you there.
Yeah.
You've got to have a very clear goal, but from a psychological point of view, you need to articulate that using what we call implementation intentions. Because often a mistake people make is they're very clear about what they want to achieve, but they're much more fuzzy about how they're going to achieve it and when they're going to take the steps to achieve it. So if you say, for example, someone's the classic New Year's resolution, I want to get fit, well, so does everyone. What are you going to do to that? Well, I need to go to the gym. Okay, can you be more specific? If you set it as an implementation intention, such that you say, if it is Monday at 8 AM, then I will go to the gym for an hour. Okay? And as silly as it sounds, having that if and then language, if sets the scenario, which is, if you like, the cue for the behaviour, and then specifies the behaviour that you need to enact to get to your goal. And if you're clear about that and you articulate things that way, you're much more likely to take effective action towards achieving the goal.
I love that. And also in coaching, one of the powerful questions that we also ask is, if you weren't procrastinating, what would your life look like? And that usually stops the client and to think a little bit, because it's sometimes they're putting things off that would actually make their life better if they actually did things as well. And lastly, I want to pick out the fear. This is one of the things that comes up times after times again in our sessions. Fear of the outcome, fear of failure as well, but also fear of success. It's amazing how many people are actually scared of achieving and getting there because they don't know how to deal with it. Or they may even be the first person in the family to get somewhere, to achieve that big milestone, and they're not sure how to handle that. So the fear of success is really, it's real as well.
Well, if you remember back to what I said about the causes of procrastination, the very first one was self-efficacy. So, you know, if you're not particularly confident in the task, the problem with that is it doesn't just affect the task you're working on at that point, it's a self-perpetuating problem, because if you think you can't do something, the chances if you put in optimal amounts of effort into the task are fairly slim. You'll probably just slack off a little bit, or, you know, you'll cut corners, you won't do it as well as you might. And of course, if you start cutting corners and you start slacking off, you're not going to get an optimal outcome. And you'll remember that, and the next time you come to do that task, you'll remember the fact the last time you did it, you didn't achieve quite as well as you wanted to. And that will then feed into the notion that you can't do the task, or that it won't turn out well enough. And then sure enough, it's a vicious circle after that. So the one thing that I always say to people, if they say, look, a particular task is really difficult for me, I say, well, how are you going about that task? Are you going about it in an optimal fashion? Because if you're hacking and slashing away at something really inefficiently, it's not surprising you're going to find it frustrating, you're going to get bored, you're going to resent doing it, and you're probably not going to want to do it again in the future. And going back to your point about technology, these days, even for something as mundane as housework, you can go on YouTube and find a life hack that will make that job much less, you know, laborious and much easier for you to do. So, you know, don't just pile straight into something you don't like doing. Do a bit of research in how you can make your life easier, and you'll probably find that will make the job a lot less aversive, and you'll be a lot less inclined to procrastinate in the future.
Perfect, thank you very much. Hope you guys found that helpful. Thank you so much, Paul. I really enjoyed that. It was packed full of amazing psychological insights how to beat procrastination. If you need to find out more information on how Paul helps through his videos, I'll link his channel below. Don't forget to also subscribe to this channel through the link here, and join us through the community family out there on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. If you guys like to suggest some future topics in the comments below, we'd also take those on board and do the future videos. Thank you so much, and hope to see you guys soon. Bye!